Have you ever felt like some people around you simply see the world differently, as if they're following invisible rules you've never noticed? What if I told you that many of these differences, often overlooked, might be signs of something greater? Surprisingly, thousands of adults live with undiagnosed autism, facing daily challenges that range from difficulty interpreting casual conversations to a deep sense of not belonging. But here's the controversial point: these signs aren't weaknesses, they're clues to unique abilities and unconventional perspectives. Imagine discovering that your struggle with social interactions, need for routine, or heightened sensory sensitivity is part of something that could actually be a strength. What might seem like a barrier could, in reality, be the key to understanding your true self and transforming your life. In this video, you'll learn about the 7 most common signs of undiagnosed autism in adults. But pay attention, the goal isn't to label anyone, but to provide clarity. After all, the more we understand about ourselves, the better we can shape a life aligned with our true nature. Are you ready to uncover this mystery and perhaps find answers to questions you never dared to ask? Challenges in social interactions. Have you ever felt like conversations sometimes feel like a game with invisible rules? For some adults, particularly those on the autism spectrum, this feeling is constant. They may struggle to interpret a smile or know if someone is being sarcastic. Imagine, for instance, someone trying to join a conversation filled with inside jokes. It's like stepping onto a dance floor where everyone knows the moves except you. And it's not from a lack of effort, but because these steps often aren't clear. Now think about the exhaustion that comes with these interactions. For many, every conversation is like solving a puzzle, deciphering tones, expressions, and context. This can lead to behaviors that others perceive as eccentric or to a desire to avoid social situations entirely. Have you noticed how some people prefer their own little corner at parties? Sometimes, it's a survival strategy, not isolation. But here's the thing we often overlook: these social challenges can also hide a unique talent for truly listening to what matters. While most people get lost in formalities, those facing these challenges often connect more authentically when they find a safe environment. Ever heard of someone shining in smaller groups, where the conversation feels more genuine? That could very well be the case. Curiously, these social difficulties often go hand in hand with a need for structure. It makes you wonder how routines can help balance such varied challenges. And what if I told you there's a way to make chaos more manageable? Need for structure. If you take a closer look, you'll notice some people live and breathe routine. It's not just about liking to know what's next, but a nearly visceral need to have every piece in its rightful place. For many adults on the autism spectrum, structure is the backbone that holds their day together. Without it, everything can collapse. Think of those impeccably organized planners with every appointment highlighted in different colors. Does it seem obsessive? In reality, it's a way to prevent their minds from becoming overwhelmed by unpredictability. But this doesn't mean everyone follows the same formula. Some thrive in organized chaos. Yes, it's a thing. The difference lies in how each person creates their order in the chaos. For some, it's knowing everything is exactly where it belongs, like their favorite pen on their desk. For others, it's a unique system that only makes sense to them. Ever met someone who remembers where everything is on a completely messy desk? That's their routine at work. The key is to build habits and tools that make daily life easier. Using organization apps like Notion or Trello is a fantastic idea for finding a balance between control and flexibility. A simpler example? Create priority lists at the start of the day. Categorize tasks as essential, important, and optional. It seems basic, but can transform how you view time. When the structure is finally in place, there's an intriguing detail: how to handle moments when the outside world breaks the system's rules. That's when sensitivity to change becomes apparent, as we'll explore next. Sensory sensitivity. Can you imagine living in a world where every sound, light, or smell feels amplified? For many people on the autism spectrum, this isn't imagination, but their daily reality. A flickering fluorescent light might be as uncomfortable as a loud alarm for someone with sensory sensitivity. Sounds most of us barely notice, like keyboard clicks or a fan, can turn into a distracting symphony. It's like trying to focus on a conversation while a poorly tuned radio blares in the background. This sensitivity isn't limited to obvious senses. There's also discomfort with clothing or food textures that might seem exaggerated to others, but make complete sense to those experiencing it. Imagine trying to eat something with an unpleasant texture. It's not just annoying, it's overwhelming. That's why finding comfortable clothes or foods with agreeable textures can be a game changer. Practical ways to minimize sensory overload include noise-canceling headphones or mindfulness techniques to dial down overactive senses. Creating a safe space with soft lighting and controlled sounds can make a massive difference. Small environmental changes can have a huge impact. This unique way of processing the world often comes with equally unique abilities. How is it possible for someone to struggle in one area but excel in another? That's exactly what we'll dive into next. Spiky skill sets. Have you ever heard of someone being brilliant in one area and utterly clumsy in another? This perfectly describes what we call spiky skill sets. Imagine someone who can perform complex calculations in their head but struggles to tie their shoes. For many adults on the autism spectrum, abilities aren't evenly distributed. Some areas are so developed they amaze others, while other skills present unexpected challenges. These peaks and valleys don't reflect a lack of effort or interest, but a different way of processing information. Someone might excel at analytical tasks like solving logic problems or understanding detailed maps, but struggle with manual tasks like cutting paper with scissors. It's a reminder that extraordinary talents can coexist with surprising difficulties. Ever heard of the mathematician Paul Erdos? He was brilliant in his field but couldn't even prepare his own meals. The key lies in leveraging strengths while creatively managing weaker areas. Delegating specific tasks or using devices that aid motor skills can relieve pressure. A simple idea? Automate everyday tasks, alarms for reminders, or apps to organize activities. These small adjustments can make a world of difference. Amid these uneven abilities, emotions often run high. After all, who wouldn't feel frustrated dealing with such disparity? This brings us to the next challenge: finding balance amidst emotional roller coasters. Emotional regulation. Managing emotions can feel like trying to hold back a wave during a storm for many people on the autism spectrum. Intense reactions, like meltdowns or complete withdrawal, aren't choices, but natural responses to overwhelming situations. Imagine being in a crowded supermarket, surrounded by bright lights and loud noises. For some, this could trigger a meltdown, an emotional overload that erupts into cries or anger. Other times, the opposite occurs, a shutdown, where the person isolates themselves as if their system powers down to avoid further stress. These moments aren't always obvious to outsiders, but they make perfect sense to those living them. Small, cumulative triggers, like a poorly timed comment or an unexpected schedule change, can act as the last straw. Remember that day when everything went wrong, and you exploded over something trivial like a stuck pen cap? Multiply that feeling, and you'll get a sense of what many experience daily. Practical ways to regulate emotions include deep breathing techniques and grounding exercises, such as noticing 5 things around you. Another idea is creating an emotional emergency kit with noise-canceling headphones, sensory objects, or a calming playlist. These simple strategies can prevent a full-blown emotional storm. Such intense reactions often accompany creative and unique thinking processes that turn challenges into opportunities. Who hasn't been amazed by an unexpected solution to a complex problem? This innovative mindset leads us to explore the next point: unusual associations. Have you noticed how some people can connect ideas that seem entirely unrelated? For many adults on the autism spectrum, this is a natural talent. They see unexpected relationships between concepts, turning the obvious into something entirely new. Imagine looking at a simple apple and thinking not only of the fruit but also of gravity, Adam and Eve, and even the evolution of juice packaging. This ability to create unusual associations is both a gift and a challenge, especially when trying to explain these connections to others. These unique mental links can shine in areas like art, science, and technology. Ever heard of Steve Jobs? He famously said creativity is just connecting the dots. This way of thinking enables out-of-the-box solutions, but can make communication difficult. To someone unfamiliar with this thought style, the reasoning might seem disjointed or hard to follow. It's like trying to decode a map with shortcuts only the creator understands. If you or someone you know thinks this way, the key is to value this originality and find ways to share it. Joining creativity workshops or writing courses can help turn these ideas into concrete projects. A tip? Try creating mind maps to organize your associations. It's a way to visualize and bring order to creative chaos. Tools like MindMeister or even pen and paper work wonders. These unique connections often amplify a subtle feeling of being different, a sensation that can be both inspiring and challenging. It's this quiet yet profound sense of not fully fitting in that leads us to the next topic. Standing out. Some people go through life with a constant impression that they're dancing out of rhythm. For many adults on the autism spectrum, this feeling of being different is like a second skin, always present, yet hard to articulate. It's not just about behaving differently but thinking and perceiving the world in ways that don't conform to conventional norms. Have you noticed how some people have tastes or interests that seem completely offbeat? It's a quiet hallmark of those who always walk paths less traveled. This uniqueness can be both a strength and a challenge. While some embrace their authenticity and shine with their unconventional ideas, others may feel out of place or misunderstood. Think of someone who loves collecting obscure facts about stars or can spend hours immersed in an unusual hobby. These deep interests might seem odd to some but are a source of passion and expertise for others. The secret lies in turning this difference into an advantage. Find spaces where this uniqueness is celebrated, such as online communities or local groups with similar interests. If you or someone you know feels like they don't fit in, explore areas that encourage creativity and innovation. Want an example? Work environments that value lateral thinking, like startups or research projects, might be ideal. And the most beautiful thing? This sense of not belonging often conceals immense resilience and authenticity. After all, those who live outside the box have more room to grow and shine. And this is where everything connects, from the challenges to the extraordinary talents, forming a complete and inspiring picture. Now that you've uncovered the signs that could reveal something so transformative, what will you do with this knowledge? Did any of these traits resonate with you or someone close to you? Understanding these differences is the first step toward embracing your true self and, perhaps, opening doors to positive changes in your life. So, the question is, how far are you willing to go to explore these possibilities and turn challenges into strengths? Don't let this newfound awareness stop here. Start today by observing your patterns, reactions, and, most importantly, your unique way of seeing the world. Why not dig deeper, exchange experiences with others who identify with this, or even seek a professional if you think it's necessary? True transformation begins when you accept who you are and decide to go even further on this journey of self-discovery. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep learning about important topics like this one. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos, and, of course, share your thoughts in the comments. Which of these signs caught your attention the most? Share your experience. Your story might help others on the same path. Let's move forward together on this journey of knowledge and growth.